So that may well have been a screenplay writing masterclass. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today the film that we are going to be discussing is the new brilliant Malayalam film which is called EKO, which is starring Sandeep, Pradeep and directed by Dinjith. Dinjith, for all people who do not know, is the director of Kishkinda Kandam, one of my favorite films, favorite Malayalam films of 2024. It is also written by the writer of Kishkinda Kandam, which is Bahul Ramesh. And I had previously, also reviewed his series, The Kerala Crime Files Season 2, which was also incredibly good. But coming back to EKO, seldom there are films, that want you to commit into a sort of a narrative structure which isn't your typical three-act structure. It's like how conditioned we are that we expect, a world building, a characterization, a conflict setup, and then going towards the resolution. But what if, imagine you're walking into a room which is absolutely cluttered and you have to, organize things, or alternately, you are given scattered pieces of a huge jigsaw puzzle and you have to slowly piece it together for the picture to be clear. That is something that you understand when you are watching a film like EKO, which doesn't follow the regular standards. It's like how the Hollywood Reporter India had said, that it's almost wanting to allow your audience to unlearn and learn again the art of watching films. And I think that's the most beautiful line that I've heard, which I'm using here again in my video. It's a wonderful, wonderful watch. Now, coming to the story and screenplay, by the way, this is not going to be a spoiler filled review, so please sit back and enjoy it. I'm not revealing any details about what the mystery transpires into, you can say. So written by Bahul Ramesh. Do not forget this name, by the way. You're going to hear a lot more of him going forward. Written by Bahul Ramesh. EKO is, the best part of EKO is that when you are in the film, when the first initial reels start coming up, there is a name that crops up called Kuryachan. And we don't know who this Kuryachan is. There's absolutely no baggage or no reference to who this person is, except that at the start we know that he's a dog trainer and a dog lover. That's the only thing that we know. But because this film is complex, this drama is complex, this narrative style is complex, it unfolds like an onion. Why an onion? Because it has layers to it. So once every layer is being peeled off, you actually get a sense of who Kuryachan is, and slowly you get to know that he's also a fugitive, so to say. And there are many people, after him, right? From the Navy to the Maoist to a couple of, bus driver and his cleaner to some other people who are in the mix, a police officer too, apparently. There are too many people who are, following and tracing the person Kuryachan, who happens to have been lost, in the place where the drama is set. But interestingly, the setting here of the mountains, it's the hazy mountains that are there, which are the location is said to be on the border of Kerala and Karnataka. It has a hazy appearance to it. Itself acts as a metaphor. So is the metaphor in the title of a film. EKO is actually in Japanese, EKO, as we say, ECHO. EKO is exactly what it's trying to convey. Once you call out, something reflects and comes back. And there's a relevance to that in a particular scene that you find somewhere, in the film. I'm not going to tell you where because it will be a direct spoiler. But it's a definite reference to it. The setting, as I said, is also a reference, to keep the information guarded and not reveal too much of the information. So when you start to, to be introduced to some of the characters, one of them is Kuryachan's wife, an old elderly lady who stays at the top of a mountain. You see that there are rumors about black magic being practiced here. Probably, it's more to do with suppressing the voice of a woman in a patriarchal setup. I think that's how I read it, the way I wanted to, although there were no clear references of that at the start, but this is what I made of it in the eventuality. In the hindsight is when I was analyzing the film. To give a company is a young caretaker called Pius. Now, Piyush, which is played by Sandeep Pradeep, he actually definitely manages to create an impression that he is a very innocent kind of a person, and slowly, he's pulled into an investigation by a Navy officer, which is played by Naren, and there's also a police cop who's accompanying him. Later on, there are a couple of others who come into the picture too. The common thing, the common link between all these characters is that of angst. You see that angst on their faces, except for the character of Kuryachan's wife, which is played by Soy. Kuryachan's wife named Soy. You see a calm demeanor to her. She's not very flustered. There's a deadpan expression that is, lacing a character, which also tells you a lot about, what the film can be about. Interestingly, the detailing, there's a lot of detailing here. As you say, the devil lies in the details. Here you see how, to construct a scene. That is something that every film student can unlearn and learn again from this film, simply because it gives you a little reference about one scene before creating a perception about that scene, before flipping it, going ahead. For instance, in a scene you see the character of Soy actually feeding milk to ants, and you get an impression that okay, maybe she is doing it out of her affinity for the ants or for the nature. She's also surrounded by dogs, who by the way play a big part, but more on that later. You see her affinity for animals is what the perception it tries to create, but the next scene tells you a different story. It almost tells you a reason to think that maybe somebody might be poisoning her food, and that is why it might be happening. That's why she's, just to ensure that her food is not poisoned, she's feeding it to the ants. Similarly, there's another scene involving the character Piyush also. You almost see adult magazines under his bed, and you see, okay, maybe that's a form of escapism. But when it leads to that next scene, you see a small note inside that magazine that he frequently writes and posts on. That actually holds a relevance in the plot as well. So it's starting with something in one scene and then slowly breaking into a completely different scenario through the initial perceptions that are being crushed into something totally different here. And this is also a result of a wonderful transition shot that is there, that takes you right into the flashback sequence. The flashback sequence actually gives you a fair idea about what it is, and it just reminded me, thanks to you guys, my Digi family, that I had watched a couple of films. One of them I know the plot of, and the other I had watched it. I may not have made a video on it, but I had watched it. It's Videyan, which is directed by Adur Gopalakrishnan. The other film is Irakkal, KG George's Irakkal. Both had, that master and slave kind of a theme that is going on, which here in the central context of things is labeled by protection and restriction. Often seem to be the same most of the times, and I think that's the central theme. If I just have to have a central theme about the film, this is the central theme, and that opens a plethora of theories that are there, and it says the infinite chronicles of Kuryachan, so to say, and infinite eternities of possibilities of Kuryachan. And so every character, there's a revelation that happens, and I'll tell you how the revelation happens a little later in the video, but they do happen, and they keep you on your toes because the perceptions of the characters keep on changing, keep on switching, and I think that's what makes for a very interesting kind of a watch. Although the screenplay is like scattered, and slowly you're getting it together. It's like that, you're getting it together after completely having a scattered start and a conflict that really didn't seem like a conflict to begin with, much like Kishkinda Kandam. But if I have to compare it to Kishkinda Kandam, the idea of why Kishkinda Kandam is absolutely brilliant, and it would be a little unfair if I have to compare this. This is a lesser product as far as I'm concerned. As far as Kishkinda, if I have to compare the two, Kishkinda Kandam and EKO, that Kishkinda Kandam, every possibility that you took at the end met with a dead end. I think that was the beauty of the writing here. Here in this scenario, there's a definite, structure to it, where characters, without, I'm not spoiling anything, characters are joined by fate. You are joined by fate. Every action has a consequence. Every reaction has a consequence, where the fate of some of the characters are tied together. And there's no spoon feeding here also. In the scenes prior to that, you see that one of the characters, so to say, poisons a couple of other characters, but you don't see the actual poison being poured at any given point of time. Similarly, a flashback of a particular character which is pivotal to the plot doesn't digress or cut away into a climax sequence. That is so much to learn from a filmmaking point of view also. Stay in the moment, don't leave the moment, stay in the moment and create that tension, that aura. And that for me has created one of the most immersive screenplay masterclasses that I've seen this year. It's absolutely brilliant, brilliant, coming from an industry like the Malayalam film industry, who's actually teaching you, as I said, at the cost of repeating myself, on how to watch films. And it's coming on the same weekend that I absolutely had to suffer from the insufferable film called Masti 4, which if I get time I'll make a video on. It just talks about the IQs of the two industries, if I can say so. Sorry to use this term, but one took my intelligence for granted and the other challenged my intelligence, with everything that was there right in front of me and I couldn't see it. That is the beauty of the filmmaking and the writing here, EKO. Coming to the technical aspects very quickly, the dialogues here. Now, this is where the film can get a little divisive, because I see some of the criticism that is coming is through a lot of, dialogue expositions that are happening. And so I had to be doubly careful while following the subtitles here in the film, because there's a lot of conversation that is happening and the information dump that is being passed on to the audience is through the subtitles. So for the people who understand the language, it will be much simpler to grasp this film. And I had to be doubly more, attentive while watching this film with full concentration, to actually follow. Because if you miss a particular dialogue, you are out of the film. It's like there's no coming back. There's a particular detail that is missed out. It doesn't join in for you at the end, and you just feel kind of lost in the film. So this is where, as a viewer, you will need to take care, particularly for those who don't speak the language and rely on English subtitles. This is the divisive part. You have to be focused while watching the film. Coming to the music and the BGM, I think the music and the BGM are immensely immersive, while going perfectly in theme with the drama. In fact, the notes, give you an ominous sign before an actual revelation takes place, which actually keeps you on your toes as a viewer. The cinematography, again, by Bahul Ramesh. I told you to keep his name in mind. Bahul Ramesh, again, the frames that he uses, to use as metaphors for the wonderful valley and the mountains that are there, the haze that is created. It just creates a perfect ambience for a mystery thriller, so to say, which I can say, if I can say so myself, a Hitchcockian twist at the end, which was absolutely perfect to witness. The editing pattern, I think you need to give a lot of credit to Suraj, who's the editor here, Suraj ES, who's the editor, because this is a very difficult film to edit. Anyone who knows editing would understand that this is a very difficult film to edit, because it doesn't follow a 3-act structure. There are clues interspersed in the narrative. One scene leads to another before switching perspectives into something else. It's like a scattered screenplay coming together slowly. And for that, I think Suraj deserves a huge credit for holding the fort and keeping things gripping here. And one thing about the cinematography also, if I can circle back, I just missed out on that point, that you see that the frames, you aren't too close to the characters. You are at a fair distance to it. So much so that you're not emotionally invested in them, but just about to hold your attention and maintain the grip in the drama. That again is deliberately done. Think about it when you watch the film in hindsight also. It's like a wonderful technique. There's so many things that I can learn. I mean, I'm so happy that, like a film student, if I can call so myself, while watching so many films, I get to learn so many techniques on screen. Director Dinjith, Apatan, I think he does a wonderful job. Make no mistake, there was a lot of pressure on him to deliver another film on the lines of Kishkinda Kandam, knowing fully well that it's going to be compared. So it will be a lesser product, or may not be a lesser product, but the pressure was definitely going to be there. And he maintains a wonderful grip in the narrative. This is such a difficult narrative that he's taken up as a challenge. So risky on paper, so risky. It was a risky proposition, and to have that brave move that, okay, I'm going to pull this one off. I'm not going to, have easy answers, not going to spoon feed the viewers, but I'm going to pull this one off with swank. And that is what Dinjith does. I think he does a wonderful job. He's such a talented director, I would say. Any other director would probably have resorted to simpler measures like, cutawaying to a flashback, as I said, or showing actual details without trusting the intelligence of the viewer, so to say. Dinjit is made of something else. He's such an amazing director to witness his work. After Kishkinda, I've not watched his first film, but from Kishkinda, I think let's take it from there. Does a wonderful job, a superb job. Coming to the performances, I think the performances are absolutely immaculate here. Also, Binu Bappu and Ranjit Shekhar, both of them do a wonderful job. Vital cogs in the screenplay. Vineet, also Naren, the legends that they are, managed to do a wonderful job here. Definitely managed to hold their own. Even Ashokan, in another small little role, also has an important angle to the perspective, and I think he does a smashing job. All three of them are smashingly good. The actor who plays the younger Soy, she's a Malaysian actor. I can't pronounce her name, but I think she has a wonderful screen presence and does a exceptional job here. Even Saurabh Sachdeva, I think he uses his perceptions really well. Firstly, in a scene that you see at the start, you see him almost, holding a certain character accountable for how he treats his wife. And it comes across as charming, but slowly he changes his body language into something that is not what it was perceived at the start. And I think that is something that is wonderfully, weaved into the narrative. Sandeep Pradeep, he's a star in the making, I would say. The kind of consistency that he's shown, the kind of performance that he pulls off, this was a very difficult character to portray, very complex character to portray, because there are so many shades to that character. Comes across as affable, but then something happens. I'm not going to reveal too much onto character, but it is a very difficult character to pull off, and I think he does a smashing job. Even the elderly character who plays, Soy, the elderly Soy, she also, I think, uses her calm demeanor to great effect. Deadpan expressions at its absolutely finest. Silence as a virtue, she incorporates in her character so beautifully. And that ending, oh my god. Oh, my jaw absolutely dropped. I was like, what the F? It was that sort of a reaction that I got after the film. So overall, I felt that EKO is an absolutely supremely brilliant film, immersive, brilliant performances, but it's more importantly a screenplay writing masterclass. Make no mistake about it. For those who did not understand, will probably like the film when you rewatch it. Focus a little on the subtitles if you don't understand the language. Be patient with the film. It's like test cricket. You don't know what the payoff is at the end. You actually can win, you can lose, you can also draw a test match. It's like watching test cricket. Be patient and enjoy what it is doing. Just focus on the lines. Don't try to decipher the mystery, which is the regular reaction that you would normally get from viewers. Putting the thinking cap on and trying to guess what is happening. Don't guess anything. Trust the writers, but focus on the lines, the expositions that would happen. That is very important to like the film. And I absolutely loved it. It's one of the finer Malayalam films that I watched this year. I don't know about the finest or not. I'll have to calibrate and assess that at the end of the year, which is probably next month at the end. But at the moment, it's the Malayalam film industry who's absolutely rollicking with the kind of content that it is providing me. Oh my god. Every time you doubt this industry, there's something that props up, and you have to chew your words back. This has not been the best year for the Malayalam film industry, but that's only relative. It's actually been a pretty solid year if you think about it in terms of the quality and the different genres that it is attempting. So Malayalam film industry, you have my heart. You have my heart. If this is a heart, okay. So if you like this video, remember to smash that like button. Alternately, you can dislike it too. Any engagement helps a creator like me. You can also comment on what was your theories about the film. If you want a spoiler video from this, then I can make a spoiler video also if there's demand for that. Otherwise, you can let me know your theater going response. What was your impression about that, and what were your theories in the comment section? Let me know everything that is there. Recommendations also, you can throw me some in the comments. You can share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Only 80 odd subscribers away from the 4K mark. Big deal for this channel. May not be a big deal overall speaking in the higher context, but big deal for this channel. I'm a nobody, but still, yeah, 4K is a lot, and all genuine subscribers. Also, my detailed review of EKO is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with the double S, the link of which is in the description box below. Do visit that as well. You can also follow me on different social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Nokio. All information available in the description box below. My captions are available on the social media handles. My detailed review and the rating is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with the double S. Exhaustive reviews. You'll love reading them. I'm sure you'd love reading them. You can read them in the language of your choice as well. Remember, there's a translate into button at the top that you can change the language, switch languages. If you wish to read your read my review in Malayalam, there's an option for that right there at the top. The official default language is English. So that's it then. That's all from the video. I'm happy, when you watch a good film, I'm supremely happy, and that's what, I get to learn many things, and I'm happy for that. So I'll see you again soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves, and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.